I'm Allison Harris with the Harris Home Team, and this video is a bit of a departure from our usual content. So our series, New to 912, is usually for people moving here, and that's different because this one is actually for people who already live here. You may be asking yourself, why the departure? So we have a real deadline, and it is much tighter than it looks. So here in Savannah, we have gotten notice of assessments from our tax assessor, and in Chatham County, the state law gives you 45 days from the date that it was mailed for you to appeal it. So it was sent out on June 16th, or at least that's what the document says. But I've talked to a ton of neighbors, clients, and friends, and so many people received theirs on July 20th, 21st, 22nd, not back in June. And so that means if the appeals are due on July 31st, they only had 10 days. So here we are 5 days away from July 31st. And we really want to be sure that you know that you have 5 days left to appeal your tax assessment if you feel it's necessary. You probably are wondering why you might want to appeal it. So your assessed value is only really meaningful if it is higher than what your home is actually worth. And that would mean that you're paying more than you should. So if you look at the new assessed value, I guess I should back this up. So this all started when I got my assessment on Monday. And I was hot and sweaty. I was just coming in from working in the garden. I looked at my mail and I was like, wait a second, this should have been here months ago. And it's funny because I was clocking that and I kept checking the tax assessor's website and I couldn't find it on the website. And I thought that was kind of weird. And then I started wondering if maybe it got thrown away on accident or if it just didn't get to me. But then as I talked to more and more clients and that reel went a little viral, I realized that so many other people in Chatham County also received theirs late. And in addition to that, the state mandated that everybody in the state get on the same form. So the form looks totally different. So if you've been following your Chatham County tax assessment for your primary residence or investment property, and you've been looking at the same form year over year, you're going to notice that this year is totally different. So not only do we have a compressed amount of time to make our appeals, assuming you got yours late as well, but in addition to that, the form looks totally different. So that's where the Harris Home Team is here to step in. We're here to help you. We want to explain the process. We want to make sure that you understand all the exemptions that are available to you. And we wanted to help you make the decision or help you decide whether you should appeal or not. And the other thing to keep in mind is if you have appealed in the last 3 years, you have an exemption that stays frozen for 3 years. And if you appeal again, you will lose that freeze. So if you've appealed in the last 3 years and you're happy with your value, then you should probably just stay put. Let's talk a little bit about the homestead exemption and the Stevens Day. If you have a primary residence in Chatham County, you can file for homestead exemption and Stevens Day. Now, normally the deadline is April the 1st, but if you look at the assessment that arrived in the mail, and you'll note because it came in an envelope with a big red stripe across it that said, important tax matter on it. That's what you're looking for in your mail stack if you just have them stacked up on your counter. But this right here is the anatomy of the tax bill. And so what you're going to see down here is going to be if you have any of your exemptions in place. So for instance, if it says HSTD or anything along those lines down here where the number 7 is, you're going to know your homestead exemptions in place. Right here, the number 5 is going to show your current tax value. And this is what your form is going to look like. Now, interestingly, you are supposed to file your Stevens Day and your homestead exemption by the 1st of April. But right here in this box, you're going to see that it says the deadline is the 31st. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but I want to point that out. So you may, if you missed your homestead exemption this year, you may be able to do it. One more thing on homestead exemption. You only have to file it once. So you file it when you move into your property, and then you don't have to renew it year over year. It'll stay with your property as long as it remains your primary residence. If you have to retitle your property, if maybe one of the owners dies or something like that, you may have to refile it. But as long as nothing happens or changes with your primary residence or your how you've titled the property, it's going to be there for life, for the duration of the time that you own that property. You'll only have to refile if you sell that house and you buy a new one or any of the other things. The other thing I want to point out is that our tax assessor actually has other exemptions available. So for senior citizens, for surviving spouses of people who die in the line of duty, et cetera. So it's really important for you to look at this website and make sure that you've applied for everything that you qualify for. That's going to be kind of the homestead exemption angle. So also, if you need to know if you have your homestead exemption and you don't feel comfortable reading this, reach out to my team. We will absolutely decipher it for you. No problem whatsoever. So that's Stevens Day. That's homestead exemption. So it says that the deadline is July 31st. It's usually April 1st. So that might be worth a call. So the other thing we want to talk about is the new statewide format that I just went through. The biggest change is that it now shows your estimated tax savings in the bottom right corner. So this feels maybe a little bit clearer and it's maybe a little bit more transparency, but it is definitely a new form that we're not accustomed to doing. If you're not sure if the 2026 value is too high, then you should reach out to us and let us pull some comparables for you based on what you tell us about your home. And we will absolutely be happy to do that. And then you can make the decision whether or not you want to appeal your taxes. If you want to appeal your value, there is a form on the Chatham County website called a PT311A. And you can mail it or drop it off at 22 West Oglethorpe Avenue, Suite 113, right here downtown Savannah. And you don't need to have your comps in hand to follow. I shouldn't say comps because you guys don't know what I'm talking about. I'm speaking in real estate jargon. You don't need to have your comparables, like these are the houses that I'm comparing my home to, in hand to file. You just need to file and you need to have an estimated dollar amount to write on that form that you think your home is worth. And then as far as the homestead exemption in Stevens Day, you can file online on Chatham County, but it's just as easy to go in person to the same address, 222 West Oglethorpe Avenue. Couple of things on that. If you're filing your Stevens Day or your homestead exemption, you need to be the primary, or it needs to be your residence on the first of the year. So if you closed in February of this year, you're going to have to wait till 2027 to file your homestead exemption. And you're going to need to have your car registered, your license switched over, and a utility bill showing that you were using that property as your primary residence at some time in the previous year. So if you've already owned your home, kind of keep that in mind, and you can get that stuff kind of lined up if you're a new owner. So I also want to talk about where I've seen some real examples where the tax card has your home completely profiled incorrectly. I can't tell you how many times I go on a listing appointment for our clients and we walk in and I'm like, I know the tax assessor says that this house is 1,900 square feet, but it doesn't feel that big. And we measure your house and we find out that it's 1,450 square feet and you've been paying taxes on 500 extra square feet. So, we can also look at things like that. So if you think that there's something wrong on your tax card, or maybe it says you have 4 bedrooms and you really have 3, or maybe you have 2 bathrooms and it says you have 3, like that's a problem also. So, we can also look at those things for you. And then just some rough general math. This is absolutely not actually how you do the math, but this is like some kind of back of the napkin math, is that, if you live in the city of Savannah, your property taxes without a homestead exemption or a Stevens Day generally are about 1.5% your assessed value. And if you live in the county, it's about 1%. What we do have, and it's just something that we have for our team and we give it to our clients all the time, is we actually have a piece of paper that shows all of the different areas inside Chatham County, outside Chatham County, and it shows actually the tax rates for those areas. So if you're considering buying a home in our area and you want to make sure that you are paying lower taxes, we can show you exactly what areas to purchase in and what you can anticipate your tax rate is going to be. The other thing I want to say about all of this is if you reach out to our team to help you with this is a free service. There is no cost to it. There's no catch whatsoever. Like, we feel that because we have this specialty, because we have this information, because we have access to the MLS and comparables, it is our duty as a real estate team to help the community to be sure that they know how much their home is worth. So we're going to invite you to reach out. You can reach out by phone. You can reach out on Instagram. Our handle is Harris Home Team. Our handle is also Harris Home Team on YouTube, so that's also fine. You're welcome to send us a DM on any of the platforms. You can also go to our website, which is sellingsavannahhomes.com. That's sellingsavannahhomes.com. and click the contact us button and just let us know that you'd like some help with your taxes. We are absolutely here for you. We've helped about 15 people in the last 24 hours. I have 5 more people that I need to get to right now. So this is something that we're actively doing. We're pulling comparables, helping you see if this is fair, not fair, and if you should appeal or not appeal. And ultimately it's your decision, but the Harris Home Team is just here to help you decide what makes the most sense for you, your family, and your home. So once again, just reach out to us, sellingsavannahhomes.com. We would love to help.